But the reason why I support it still is because it's pure politics. That's it. This is a political move by probably Anwar because he needs to be seen doing something for the rakyat. And once especially the B40 rakyat, right? And a lot of the rural Malays and things like that, because once people are able to see the cash, they're like, oh, Anwar's government allowed this, but previous government don't allow.
Okay, welcome back to Yamcha Sessions VFO VeryFastOne. Today is the 17th, is it?
It's the 19th.
Oh, 19th of April.
Yeah.
Why,
End of month coming.
19th, yeah, 19th of April 2024. The salary is coming soon. So, what topic are we going to be discussing about today, man? Vince?
Today we're going to be talking about how EPF will start a account tree known as flexible account. So now, instead of just having 2 accounts, you will have 3 accounts where previously you are only able to do some withdrawal due to some of the reasons, whether it's for education, housing loan, and stuff like that. But now, due to the economic situation of the country, they are introducing this new account to allow people to withdraw the 10% that will be allocated to this flexible account. So we'll go into the details later on, but let's get everybody's initial reaction. Is it good? Is it bad? We're also going to be talking about things like, are the dividends affected? Is this a government way, an option for government to boost the economy by asking people to spend from whatever they have from within their pocket instead of giving them money? What's the social impact of this? So let's first get started with our initial reaction. What do you guys think? Is this a good move to have an account tree that allows the Raya to withdraw the money?
I don't know. I think alphabetical order. Andrew can start first.
When I heard the news of this change, I felt nothing because it would not be relevant to me. Knee jerk lah, right? Like, oh, it's just one of these things that happen. I'm not going to touch it anyway. No difference, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but you just demonstrated that you are probably doing quite well.
Yeah.
I think good enough to survive lah, without touching my EPF all the way to 55 lah.
Yeah.
Right.
But the topic that you brought up about impact on dividends, yeah, that's a big, oh man. I quite like the dividends. It's like a nice little bonus on your EPF every year. And relative to CPF in Singapore, it averages a much higher rate. So if this impacts dividends, which I guess only time will tell, truly, then that's no good lah. I'm assuming by impacting dividends, it would impact it negatively because of...
There is another thing that will impact you also, which is that now, because in the past, it would split 70-30. So now it's going to split 75, 15, and 10, right? So that means now you will receive no matter what in 10. So the effect will be you have to transfer the money from 3 to 1, 3 to 2.
Oh, is it? It's a different dividend lah, depending on the account.
Yeah. Unless they come out with a form where you can sign and say, no, nothing in 3.
Yeah.
So now's the time for me to talk about the facts, which is like as soon as you made your EPF contribution as well as your employer, a lot of people don't talk about that. They only think about the
13%.
Yeah, their own personal EPF contribution. So how the funds will be allocated is that your money, 75% of your money will go into account 1, which is an increase of 5% from the previous structure. So account 1 will have an increase of 5%. Meanwhile, account 2, which is usually used for loans, education,
housing,
it has decreased from 30% to 15%.
Oh.
So account 2 has been decreased. Basically, the account that you can withdraw is decreased, and the account that you can't withdraw has been increased slightly. And that's how we got the 10% for account number 3, the flexible account.
What's the percent for account tree actually?
10%. But you will start with 0 balance. So you have to build it up. It's not like automatically your funds, according to what I'm reading over here from Malay Mail, it's not like whatever that you have in your EPF will be automatically 10% into your account tree and you can take the money and spend it on whatever you need.
It just starts.
Yes.
Starting when again?
It's going to be starting somewhere around like May.
I see.
But maybe, there's not, I couldn't find a single confirmed article that says we'll start May at a specific date. But let's go back to your thought. Do you think it's a good thing?
My first impressions?
For the rakyat, maybe I should say.
For the rakyat, I think I feel that a lot of people need that flexibility of financial usage. So that account 3 allows them to take care of a lot of things that we are not so familiar with. So maybe like I know account 2 also allows for healthcare, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
account 3
Medicine and all that,
but I think account 3 is kind of like that flexibility where you need to pay off some things. You need to count him, whatever you need to count him. So maybe the government actually does see the fact that majority of Malaysians are suffering. So the account 3 allows them that flexibility of where that money goes to, possibly.
So I mean, the effect is not that, because I did the math. So typically people who require an account 3 are lower in income. So let's call it 2,000. So 2,000, 24% of that, of the 2,000 will be
480.
added into your EPF as a whole every month. So which is about, let's call it 500, right? So 500 over 1 year is 6,000 contributed in your EPF, right? As a 2K salary guy. But because account 3 is only 10%, that means it's only $50 per month or 600 ringgit a year. And so as far as boosting the economy,
Minor impact.
not zero, but close to it. And then people who are higher income, let's say they earn 20K, instead they would be able to take out 5,000 ringgit only. But let's say if you are, did I get that math right?
Yeah, more or less.
20K.
You can bring out 600 ringgit.
Yeah,
so you can
correct
take
lah.
6,000 only, sorry.
Yeah.
So someone earning 20K probably won't have the strong need to take out that 6K.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe over time, after 10 years, when it builds up to, let's say, 100.
Buy a car or something
Yeah,
for his
maybe.
kid or something. I don't know.
So clearly whoever came out with this have done the math quite well, because the idea is to ensure that there's no big outflow like the one that they had
During the COVID
during the
pandemic.
COVID, because that one had 100 billion shaved off,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, today EPF size would be like 1.2 trillion or something like that. Now it's 100 billion less. So, but at the same time, I think people are very worried that, it's going to affect the dividend. So actually, it's not entirely true, because EPF 3 is going to have a much lower interest. And it's actually close to a savings account interest, which is basically like nothing.
Same as like Maybank or whatever, just keeping it in the bank. It's the same. It's almost the same thing.
So you know what it really is?
Right.
They're just adding another administrative layer for you to access your savings account. So imagine you have another savings account, just that now you have to go somewhere and apply and fill in forms to get it, rather than just open your Maybank to you app and send the money.
Oh,
That's literally like the practical difference.
so they're making it a bit more difficult for you to get
Just
the money.
add
maybe.
one layer only.
You know, a lot of the commenters that I can see commenting on news such as this is that they were hoping for it to be a lifeline, especially for the ones who are really needing it. As soon as they see this news, they are saying that, thank God.
Yeah.
This will really help me to relieve my burden. And I think that's something that we need to talk about, why some people are against this introduction of EPF account, which defeats the purpose of what EPF is supposed to be.
But sorry, to cut you off, but you see, that's the thing. It's not a lifeline right now, because they have to build it up.
Yeah.
So the guy who's earning 2K, you need $600. So if you want to build that up to 5K, he needs 8 years.
That's a very short term. Like,
Assuming he stays at 2K lah.
So why would somebody then use EPF account 3? Because if you have to take that long to build it up and the dividends are not that great, why put it over there?
I think it's just access to your salary immediately, right? More of your salary. Just
In the long term, not now.
Not now.
Yeah.
no, I mean like, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. If your salary comes in, a part of it goes to EPF, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in that EPF amount, you can now withdraw a part of your EPF amount. But it's just that you have to go through an additional layer. Correct.
And you have to build it up, yes.
Yes.
For EPF 3.
But how long do you have to build it up before you can take it up?
No, you can take it out immediately.
Yeah, you see. So I think this is I can give you a bit of experience. So when I came back from the US, my salary was like a measly 2 point something.
Correct.
I think 2.2 or some shit like that. And because of this, it's like I'm very lucky to be born in KL. I'm very lucky that my dad got me a car. I'm very lucky to have a roof over my head, food paid for dinner, whatever. But I think a lot of people who do decide to come into the city, like for example from Perak or whatever, and they want to work here, they kind of need that extra 200 ringgit. It really makes a big difference,
Yeah.
I feel. You can pay for your rent or you can share a room or whatever, right? So to us, we are quite like big money thinking in that sense. But I think when you really dial it back and then you put yourself from an outside of KL type perspective, I think that 200 goes a long way a month. You really can help. I feel so. Even because cost of living now, parking is ridiculous, driving is ridiculous, tolls are ridiculous.
But just to be clear, that you're saying that if you had like a 200 ringgit, that money you can take out 200 ringgit every month just to tahan will be good, right?
Yeah,
but
you don't need to take out the whole thing,
But the math works out that for that to happen, you need to be earning about 8,000.
So if you earn 2K, how much? Oh,
If you
600 for
earn
the whole year.
2K,
Whole year, bro.
50 bucks only, bro. 2K, 50 bucks. So to have 200 is 8K.
Oh my lord.
But by the time you're 8K,
50 ringgit pay for touch and go.
no, that's why I say the person who did the math on this already, like they calculated this. Because to get what you want, that 200 ringgit a month just to tahan, right? You would already be earning 8K.
Yeah,
but
that's
if you're already
insignificant,
earning 8K,
You wouldn't have that issue.
you shouldn't, I was
Yeah,
saying. You shouldn't. Not you wouldn't.
But you see, when you brought up this point, it instantly defeats like the purpose that EPF is supposed to do, which is forced saving.
Yeah.
Now it gives you an option of like, okay, maybe I can just withdraw from EPF.
Yeah, any times or more. Because so let's say if you've built up that 3 years, for example, to a certain amount with your 2K and then went up to 3K salary, for example, probably not a lot to take out. And then you are tempted to take out now because you can kind of spend on like, I don't know, a nice watch or something for fun. Or like you go and buy a
But if
cool
you are there,
iPhone.
you're not the
Yeah,
intended.
yeah.
Actually, a good mathematical way to sense check how much this is worth is your employer contributes 13%.
Yep.
You can only withdraw 10% of the 13%.
Oh.
It's always going to be 1.3% of your salary.
So they cap you at that.
So whatever it is that you're making, your account 3 you can withdraw is 1.3% of your salary, provided your employer, or this is your employer side only lah. You also have employee side lah.
Yeah.
Employee side is 11%, I think.
11 plus 13, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 24%.
Oh, so you only can take out.
So it's 2.4% lah. 10% on 24% is 2.4% lah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is 50 bucks for 2K earners.
So let's tap into who this is really intended for, since we have now deduced the math. So who do you guys think that this is
Probably
intended
B40,
for?
yeah.
Yeah, B40.
But maybe, right, I'm thinking as well, like 2K, but 50 ringgit. 50 ringgit, if you're really resourceful, you can
Do a
tahan,
lot of things actually.
Yeah, like if you really...
It's not nothing, lah. I mean, I would say that.
Yeah, like, I mean, we're thinking 50 ringgit is nothing, but I feel like I could squeeze out like 3 days with 50 ringgit probably,
If I was ultra strategic about it, I could
Maybe,
stretch it to a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I was
you can.
ultra strategic.
Yeah.
Nasi lemak 1 ringgit every single day.
Yeah, it's very doable. So maybe in that context also, right? If like, and I was in that position once because I couldn't even afford Subway, I remember with that salary, I just like
Yeah.
GG lah. I have
That's
to
quite
tap
GG
out. Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
I remember at that time, if I had even an additional 50 ringgit, I would be like,
Wait,
oh my
hang on,
God.
hang on. You had to tap out.
Yeah, from home, bro.
Oh, from home. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had to tap out from home, bro, just to go to work and eat. I had no choice. That one is like I have no money, dude. Like how to save?
So let's say you earn 2K.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you earn 2K. And by year 1, you have 600 bucks in EPF 3. What sort of emergencies can you account for? So I can think, let's say if you have a family, you can buy some milk powder. I don't know how much milk powder goes now.
I think it's 250,
So you can buy 2 packets of milk powder.
more or less. If I'm not
If
mistaken,
you
it's
are living
250.
in a room only, then that's probably 1 month or
a couple
slightly under.
months if you share.
Yeah, if you share,
it's-
so it's 1 or
it's
couple
doable.
months.
But do you think the people who are were you saying that like renting a
Renting?
room?
No, I'm trying to paint in practical terms
How the money-
how the 600 can benefit you. What emergency can you account for? So that's room, milk powder. And by the way, I hope if you have children, try to earn more than 2K. That's all.
Yeah.
But like car repairs. I mean, I don't own a car.
possible.
So let's say you own a Myvi or Beza, which is the sort of car you should be owning if you're earning that amount or less. What sort of repairs are involved? Tires, service.
Unforeseen
How
things,
much?
so tire probably you can
Tires
change.
So what
I
can you
can.
do with 600?
Tires, I think can.
Yeah,
on
tire can.
On a Myvi, Asia, I think 600 you can.
How many repairs can you do?
Repair or change tire is different.
It really depends on the context of the repair, lah. But I think change all 4 tires. I think you can do it with $600.
Yeah, you don't need to buy the expensive tire. It's
So
possible.
one
Replace
change
car
lah,
battery
okay.
as well.
Car battery, you know.
Not nothing, but yeah.
600 quite a lot for the whole year.
And it's also not just in the context of like 1 year's worth, lah, right? Maybe in 7 years' time,
Yeah.
you happen to,
Need that money.
gonna strike by lightning or whatever.
Yep.
Not literally. And then you can, that's a
Utilize
good amount,
the
lah. Yeah, it's a good
amount.
amount.
Yeah, it's always also good lah. I think if let's say it's a multiple, it's not we're thinking of the context of one person as well.
Yes, correct.
So if it's like four kids who start working and then they're all siblings and then their mom goes through something, so they can pull their money together and it's an easy way to pull. So it's possible lah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the dividend part. Now, this is where I'm going to read what the former finance minister, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul, said. The expectation of potentially lower dividends from this move aligns with whatever he said earlier, which is it might be a little bit lower. So back then in 2021 and 2022, when there's mass withdrawal, it has affected the pool of money that EPF has, thus resulting in a lower dividend. So because of that, now let's go over the facts that, yes, a lot of people are speculating that perhaps the dividend may be lower, but it's only accounted for if you put the money in account 3, like what MJ said earlier. It doesn't affect that much. So for account 1 and account 2, you will still maximize your gain, hopefully
dividends,
enjoy the higher
In
dividend.
your retirement.
But then again, is this something that is confirmed, like the lower dividends in account 3?
We don't know what is confirmed, but
Exactly.
I know the effect will be minimal. It will not affect the dividend so much.
Right. So with that, let's ask, are you guys going to be putting your money in account 3?
I feel like I come from a very privileged place to say this, but it doesn't matter to me lah. I probably wouldn't take it out also.
But sorry, no choice, right? If you contribute EPF,
It goes automatically. If I'm not,
Yeah, you
but
have to move it yourself.
Yeah, I
By default, does it go to account 3?
yeah.
yeah, from
Yeah,
I think I'm
I
not
think
sure when is the date,
Yeah.
the month. I think so, but not confirmed. I have not updated myself on
see.
this information.
I
But
see.
let's assume lah.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
And you probably have to do some administration work, probably online, to just move your funds.
If I'm not mistaken, you have an app that can do that. It's KWSP that you can just
Yeah.
log in and then move it.
The
as
app
well.
is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
You can. EPF is very well run. It's
Yeah, the
amazing.
customer service is pretty good.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a big deal, but to me,
And would you take the hassle to move it then?
actually, I hate administrative work. I think Andrew knows this. I think all of you all know this. I despise this shit. I really try to avoid it as
Actually,
much.
I mean, just curious, right? Like, who actually
People
likes
love
it?
people who love routine.
I don't think so.
People who love routine, they low key love it. And like my dad, you can tell. Dad
he will
loves
love it,
this.
yeah.
My dad loves this.
Signing papers, writing checks.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves if he has like a set thing he has to do. So
The reason why I'm asking this is because that most of us would most likely just put the money, let it be automatically, and you may not be
Yes.
aware that it's in a country. And that's where you may not get the higher
yeah, the
dividend.
higher, which is a pain lah. I feel like if they were to implement this, I think the best thing to do is actually like have a tick box law. Do you agree? Do you want to maintain? That type of thing is a simple task if you just log in to confirm. That's it. It's like
The very big decision is what is the default status.
yeah,
That is the very big decision because of 100% of population of whoever is eligible for EPF, 80% is not going to change the default setting. The 20%
Yeah, it's
will be
unfortunate.
gung ho enough to say, I choose my life, right? I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna go to KWSP office and change this. But 80% are going to stick to the default option.
Yeah,
so that's
probably.
a big choice to make.
yeah. I feel that the government should, by default, not put the account 3.
I agree. I believe the default should not be.
Yeah,
To
because
account 3.
if you were really desperate, then you would have to go through it. I think that's what you should position the count 3 should be an optional thing, but it shouldn't be a mandatory thing. Because I feel like long term, a lot of people, and I saw a study that MJ sent in the group, something along the lines of a lot of us like don't really even save up to 50K. If I'm not mistaken, I'm
Yes, you are
butchering.
right.
I'm butchering the numbers. 50K, right?
Yeah. Half of the half of the people under 55 do have 50K EPF, something like that.
Yeah, they don't even have 50K in their bank, in their EPF, which is, I don't even know how you live life like that. That's some
It's either you are in deep trouble.
evil Knievel type
It's
shit.
either you're in deep trouble because you have no money, or you're in deep trouble because HDN don't know a lot of stuff about what you're doing.
Oh, could be lah. Yeah, I didn't think about this.
You are probably a gig worker or
Yeah.
or like full-time freelancer situation.
That's true.
that
That's
don't
true.
contribute to EPF. Yeah.
Or you are any of the insanely wealthy people who run hawkers and whatnot.
yeah.
And then
Money
go
under a
kunting.
mattress.
Yeah, you get cash, right?
Yeah.
All the kopitiams you see out
But
there.
we see the brighter side. I think the not so brighter side. I
The
feel like
majority are that.
wait, what?
The majority will be negative lah.
Yeah,
Non-bright lah.
I think so lah. I think so. I mean, I wouldn't say I know a lot of people, but I feel like I think if you go to government school and you have friends,
Yeah.
basically, I think you kind of know lah. That is the case lah. They are mostly gig workers that you mentioned, and then they live for the day lah.
Yep.
Yeah, which is
But-
hard.
yeah.
Which is hard. You know, it's hard to have foresight for the future.
I actually think that it should be the default, not because it's the best decision in terms of the numbers and all that. Because honestly, the right decision is to have never let go of that money at all and actually use EPF to invest overseas, and then we can actually increase the rates around 8-9%. Right? Actually, that's the right.
That's so investor.
That's the right, because it benefits everyone. Right? We need to have a Norway kind of mindset. Norway is the largest. This kind of EPF equivalent.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the largest in the world. They're $1 trillion US dollars. We are 1 trillion ringgit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they're big. So they invest overseas. So, anyways, the reason why is because having run through the math and all that, right? Actually, a lot of people will not be able to access that much money. It is designed to not repeat what happened in 2022 when they withdrew the cash, which means whatever people can withdraw, at least in the near future, will never exceed not just 100 billion, not even 50 billion, probably less. Because if you do that, you will disrupt EPF's processes. They will not be able to do any planning forward. They cannot think of investing overseas.
Because it halts the investments.
You always have to think, oh, do I have enough money for people to withdraw? That kind of
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
mindset.
Then you're thinking of the
But
reverse.
the reason why I support it still is because it's pure politics. That's it. This is a political move by probably Anwar because he needs to be seen doing something for the rakyat. And once especially the B40 rakyat, right? And a lot of the rural Malays and things like that, because once people are able to see the cash, they're like, oh, Anwar's government allowed this, but previous government don't allow.
It's so
And that might
unfortunate.
improve the what? It's pure politics.
The perspective of the
Which is similar to what Mahathir was saying as well. You know, how come the people in Langkawi is not voting for him? It's because, you know, this time you didn't give us money too.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So it's a way for Anwar saying that, all right, I'm giving you guys
I can
money in some
foresee at
ways.
the end in the next election when he's campaigning, he's telling people, because of EPF 3, people can withdraw 6 billion ringgit worth or 15 billion ringgit worth to fund their own last minute and all that. You know, everyone was hurt by COVID, you know, but when I came in, I gave billions to many people. That's the logic.
I can totally imagine that scenario now that you say that. It's quite sad.
So,
Politics.
So if
I
you
did the math. No way, that doesn't really help the person that much.
right, so if it's okay, let's just say if this is intended to be a political move or something to that extent, but let's just remove that idea and just imagine for a while. Let's just say if it's for the economy. You were mentioning that the right way is to not get people to take out money. Just keep the money inside and then invest. But this goes for people who actually have money inside EPF. But what about the people who doesn't have money inside EPF? You know, they have such a small amount that even a little dividend payout may actually not result to that much.
But I think what you mean is by investing in terms like EPF itself is investing abroad,
EPF
right? Is what you
itself,
meant.
yes,
EPF
so that we can get the returns.
Well, EPF does invest abroad still, but it can be more. You see, like Singapore, right? Wow, it's like all over. They're buying random, even they're buying crypto scams as well. Temasek.
Maybe I can ask everybody is like, do you guys have a big, quite a sufficient amount in EPF that makes you feel you're invested? Because there's
I
a
feel I'm quite comfortable with the EPF amount I have.
because for the
I
B40, they probably might not have that much of an EPF account savings inside. So they'll be like, okay, you know what? I don't really care
I've
about
answered
that.
to the point you just made, but yeah, we just go on the EPF question first.
Yeah.
Andrew.
I think for people who do not have a substantial amount of money in EPF, account 3 might actually be an incentive for me to voluntarily contribute. To give you a scenario.
Oh, you put in money into it. Oh.
Yeah, because now I have it's now a higher liquidity investment. So if I put it this way, I'm a Grab driver. No shit to you guys. I make whatever money I make. Before account 3 was introduced, I'll be thinking, if I put money in EPF, I cannot touch until I'm 55. That's no good. Now, if I have account 3, if I put money into EPF, at least I have access to 10% liquidity. Maybe that's a good thing. Then maybe you get more B40s to actually put money into EPF in general.
It could be a reverse incentive too. I didn't think about that. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And it's a flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Which is key. And also is to incentivize people who don't have employers who pay their EPF and the gig economy people. Yeah.
So if you put into perspective people who actually make large sums of cash, like your hawkers, like your kopitiams and whatnot, that actually is maybe can actually move the needle here.
I would say that is okay if the rates they give are going
attractive,
to be attractive. Because if you're a hawker fella with a lot of cash thinking about this, right, then think, why should I go through the admin work to put in my hundreds of thousands if I can just put in FD?
You actually don't have to go through the admin work. You can use the KWSP app and
pay.
bank in
Oh,
any amount you want. What the It is.
Serious? Okay,
I tried it. It is seamless. It's a fantastic app.
yeah,
Seriously.
It's very easy. Yeah, correct.
I don't know, obviously, because it hasn't happened yet, how painful it is to withdraw from account 3.
but you know the reverse.
I know to top up, it is very easy.
Wow. Shit.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Well, do you have anything you
You
want to
said
add on it?
something earlier on that I wanted to address. I forgot already.
Which is, us probably we have some substantial amount in the EPF that makes us feel invested. Whereas for B40 or people who doesn't have enough insight, they
okay.
might not feel invested.
Okay, so my answer is this, right? So the whole idea here, what is being brought to light about this EPF discussion is essentially about delayed gratification, right? We know, I mean, it's a well-known fact in finance that people can delay gratification, delay touching the money. They will have a much more secure financial future. Now, of course, people with certain needs, they have to battle for it. And of course, one of the big things about EPF is the fact that there's a guardian to your money. Guardian not from the outside world, but from yourself, because you are itchy hands, right? That's why Andrew was talking about this thing of being able to put into EPF and then you can solve it. So for me, it's still a net positive even for B40 to have EPF rolling, because even though let's say you only have 10K, right, which is not a lot, grow at 6% means every 12 years you're going to double. But let's say you contribute over time. After 12 years, you will not have 20K, you will have maybe closer to something like 30 plus K.
They always show you the graph.
Yeah, then you add another 12K, you could be 60, 80K. Now, yeah, B40, I mean, for a lot of T20 guys, this doesn't sound like a lot, right? But what people don't understand is that EPF is what we call, right, a non-probate asset. So long story short, right, when you set up EPF, it can actually bypass when the assets that you plan to pass on to your kids. For most assets, right, you have to go through probate. So let's say you die already, then you say your house that you give it to your son, right? The son has to go through some sort of legal process to get the house. But because EPF is a non-probate asset, whoever you appoint to, that person goes straight to that person. So you do not need to go through any legal process. Why I'm sharing with you this is because if you think long-term, even as a B40, eventually you become an M40, you may not have the life that you really want, but that small amount of effort that you put in, the few hundred ringgit that you don't touch and don't take out,
Who's your kid?
it doesn't, you won't benefit, but your kid will benefit.
Yeah. It just goes direct to your kid.
And a lot of people don't know this. EPF is a non-probate asset. It goes straight to your kids. No dispute. Whatever you put in the name there, no auntie, uncle, achi, acho can come and claim that. It's what the name there, it goes to the person.
Wow.
No dispute. No law, no lawyer can argue.
That's quite crazy, man.
So B40 still is tough, right? And maybe I'm a prick for not understanding your struggles, but I can tell you the mathematics is, you cannot do it for yourself, you do it for a loved one.
Your kid.
All right, final thought, guys. So do you think it's a good idea to have this account tree? Overall, is it a good decision to introduce this? Well, personally, for myself, if you're asking me as an EPF contributor, I think it's a good idea. because you have that option to withdraw some money out. But for the other people who may be in need, if let's just say the math has been done correctly, then okay, all right, we have found some ways to help the struggling citizens, but also limiting them maybe could be a good idea. So what do you guys think? Final thoughts. Do you think it's a good idea to have this account tree?
I think it is a good idea if it does not impact dividends that much. And if the default status is to not go into account 3. Those two things have to be true for it to be a good idea.
What do you think, John?
I think I feel that no matter in what, even if it's by default, not by default, whether the dividend goes up, whether the dividend goes down, if I'm thinking maybe if Anwar wants to stay in power and he's trying to do a good job in the next 2 terms and this somehow keeps him in power for the next 2 terms, I think maybe we need stable government long term. So maybe it's a good thing. So public image is good for him to stay in power. Then that way he can move the needle a bit further in that sense. Because now that you mentioned that, it's stuck in my head really. I like if you really think about it, right, it's a very small change, but the way he can phrase it can be very powerful.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be a big gesture.
Correct.
But it can sound like one. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts. It's great not for the reasons people anticipate it for being. It's great because it's politically savvy.
It's quite smart.
And the cost is very, very little.
Okay, so let us know what you guys think, whether if it's a good move. What are your thoughts? I know some of you guys are probably dropping very serious comments in the comment section down below. Just want to let you guys know that the name of this podcast is called Yum Cha Session. So take it easy, but do also let us know the thought, man. So where are our podcasts available on?
Oh yeah, Spotify, YouTube, the works. But I just want to point out, right, that when people go to a Yum Cha session, they don't do their research before they go Yum Cha.
Oh man.
So I just want to put that out.
I just whack us in the comments. Do it. Do it.
Cancel. Do it. Cancel me. Cancel us. I dare you. I love you. Bye bye. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.